Wow, well, it was quite a performance from this Roma side. I mean, you can just see from the stats there, it was pretty much like that first leg. Roma had much less possession, but they did the job, and crucially, Emil, it was that early goal, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was the early goal. Obviously, when you... we knew it was going to be a quick start, and I said it at the beginning. That first 10 minutes, you're going to weather a storm. And they weren't able to do that, and Tammy got a really good goal, and then trying to break down an Italian side is going to be tough, especially when they know what's at the end of it.
Did that throw them, Danny? Because it seemed that Roma came out with a game plan. They were very slick, very organised, and it felt that Leicester were reacting for most of that game instead of being able to impose anything of their game on that.
I think it did, but it shouldn't have, because it's Jose Mourinho and it's an Italian team, and you know what they're going to do. I think in the first leg, they knew what was up against. I mentioned in the show earlier, I spoke to Chris Smalling. They were very happy to go back to Roma 1-1. And I think that was always going to be their game plan. And I'd have been surprised if Brendan hadn't said to them, you know, if things, you do go 1-0 down, don't be surprised. You've got the crowd, and they will sit in deep. So, yeah, it did throw them, but it shouldn't have, because I think they should have expected that.
Tough night for Brendan. I think he'll reflect on it. You can see it already. He went to Fofana at the end of the game, probably the standout player. I felt for Vardy, because he's only just come back from injury. Didn't quite have it in the legs. In the past, you might have felt a younger man might have put that away, and a fitter man, because he's been out for some time. But he did call on the players after the Forest game to say a lot of them have got to do a lot of work to prove that they've got a future at the club. Maybe they've done it, maybe some haven't, but I think he'll reflect on his tactics above all else, because when you go in against Mourinho, you've got to get it right, and definitely they got it wrong. And those set pieces is back to the drawing board again, I'm afraid, because they keep on conceding. And that is, at this level, they'd have looked at that, the analysts for Roma, and said, right, we're getting a goal there, because 16 teams have scored this season, we want one. And they got one, and it was the difference between the two teams.
And this is it, isn't it? The Leicester fans will be holding their heads, won't they? Just crying about this, won't they, Emil? This is the goal from Tammy Abraham.
Yeah, Tammy Abraham up against Pereira here, and it's a mismatch. It's a mismatch, especially against someone with such a leap. Look at this leap. And then he arches his back and gets a really good powering header on it. And up against any defender, you fancy yourself, but putting yourself up against someone that much smaller than you, yeah, you see why he's going to win that.
I don't think it's the best use of those players to have two central defenders on that second pack away from the penalty box. No, I think one of those has got to come out and be on that 6-yard line. Lots of teams have a player there that's in a zonal situation. That was the role I always had, on that 6-yard line, to go and attack things. So, you know, they could have done that with one of their players. And at the moment, they're just fixed. And they've changed it this season from zonal to man marking, and it keeps going wrong.
I find it quite interesting, because in the second half, when Amati's come on, you know, they were defending a set piece, and Ricardo wasn't in the box.
No,
he was up on the halfway line. So he obviously did look at it at half time and tried to change it, but you wonder why it was like that from the first minute.
OK, well, set pieces have been an issue for Leicester, not just this season, but going back into last season as well. But Tammy Abraham won't care. Here's the man who got the goal. It was off a set piece, and he is speaking to Matt Smith now.
Tammy, what a way to win a semi-final.
What can I say, you know?
Yes, Tammy! Yes, Tammy! There you go, there's your answer.
You know, for me, from before the game started, the fans won us this game. You know, we could hear them coming into the stadium, we can hear them before the game, and until now, we're not even on the pitch, and we can still hear them. For us, for me, the win was for them, for Rome, for my team, and hopefully we can go the way.
You're a big boy, but you went up like a salmon for that header.
No, of course, you know, my job is to be active around the box, and that's the kind of striker I am. You know, whenever I sniff an opportunity, I try to get myself in the right area. And, you know, I'm not the best at heading, but, you know, today was a good header.
It was a pretty good header. Were you surprised it was Pereira who was marking you? Did you maybe see an advantage in that?
It was quite a bit of surprise, but, you know, for me, no matter who's marking me, if I sniff a chance, I have to go for it. So that's why I done.
You've obviously had a great season here, but watching you tonight in person, I'm not sure you gave one ball away. It was a very good display from you.
I tried, my team tried, we all tried, you know. For this team, you have to give your all, and for us, we left everything out there. Last couple of minutes, I couldn't breathe. I told the manager, but he told me to keep going, and for my team, I'll do my best. And That's what we've done today.
Good luck in the final.
Thank you very much.
What a season Tammy Abraham's having. He was healthy, he was brave, he made the move to Rome as well. 25 goals in all competitions for him so far. Danny, it was interesting because he was so quiet in the first leg. We were all wondering, sort of, where is Tammy Abraham? We were expecting big things from him. But he showed it in this leg when it counted.
He did. In the first leg, I think we said that it's going to be a test against an experienced Johnny Evans and obviously a very talented Fofana. And he was very quiet. But tonight, I think you look at some clips, he led the line well. It was a great leap. Emil's going to talk about his all-round game.
Yeah, I think, you know, when you're getting a player like this, so exciting, so talented, didn't quite make it at Chelsea, but has something to prove. And he's had a fantastic game today. Hardly ever any balls away. And when you're leading the line, they played it better for him because they played it exactly the way that he wanted it. He was a threat in behind. He was holding the ball up. Everything that he did came off. And he ran his socks off because even at the end there, he's getting cramp. And that's what all you can ask of your players. He's even trying flicks there. And, yeah, everything just came off for him. He was just fantastic today. And hats off to him because, again, it's not easy to go abroad and do well and scoring this many goals, knowing that. But, again, he's now showing that he could actually do this for the national team as well.
Yeah, indeed. And, you know, he's through to a European final now. What do you think Chelsea thought that he lacked, but what has he proven this season with Roma that he has and that can improve his game?
I just think with these young players, you've got to go and give them their wings. Let them go and fly. And he's doing that now. I don't want to say it's like the Italian job and he's gone and blown the doors off tonight. But he really has with that performance because Gareth Southgate will be looking at that. You know, Italy have won the Euros in the summer. And that's an Englishman playing for an illustrious club in Italy and blowing it away, really. And he was the standout player tonight. Without him in the team, then there's nothing between the two sides. You know, Leicester might have looked at it and thought, you know, maybe they would have liked to have taken him as well. But no, he proved how good he was. He's adapted well to living abroad. And Smalling as well, you know, another player that we've pretty well written off. We've got some good young players, and it's great to see them doing well abroad. Maybe not for tonight, because we wanted to see Leicester go through. But if it was the tale of the two strikers, and you've got Vardy coming back from injury, and you've got another one at the other end who's really, isn't he, on full throttle tonight and did exceptionally well. Yeah, well, Tammy Abrahams was the one who got the better of that Leicester back line today, including Johnny Evans, the veteran, wasn't he, leading that line. He is speaking to Matt now.
Johnny, commiserations. A game, I guess, that didn't quite go how you wanted.
No, going behind the Mourinho team, you know, it's going to be difficult to break them down anyway. And, you know, losing that goal in the first half from a set piece, which has been a problem for us. You know, we didn't really find a way back in. You know, we had a lot of possession, but found it hard to break them down.
Did it feel more comfortable with the three at the back in terms of matching them and getting more of the game second half?
It probably give us a bit more options on the ball to sort of build up from behind, and you know, probably allowed us to be a bit more aggressive whenever they won the ball. And I think we played the majority of the second half in their half. Yeah,
it's just an opportunity missing it to go to the European final. It's the semi-final's the worst way to lose, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, they're a good team, you know, big and strong, and they were very physical. And like I say, we found it hard to break them down.
Appreciate your time.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thanks, Johnny.
Yeah, understandably very disappointed, Johnny Evans there, but keeping up appearances there as well. But in terms of Leicester's creativity, we saw Jamie Vardy at the end applauding the supporters, and you know, we've talked about him as well. Just you mentioned it, Martin. He's a little bit older now. He also hasn't had much game time going into it, but there wasn't much service for him. And Leicester, in terms of their attack, Emil, it was stuttering. They just couldn't seem to put enough passes together. And if the ball was there in the final third, the decisions were all wrong.
Yeah, look, I think we spoke about it before, and we spoke about them being brave. Well, it was just little things like the touches. That touch there to try and get a strike. The final ball into the box wasn't right. Trying to take shots right there with his left foot, but can you keep moving it? But then again, you've got to give it to Roma and say defensively they were solid. They couldn't really break them down. They didn't really have any answers. Poor passes like this, and then rash decisions. But again, it's just making angles and trying to get on the ball. But the pass, the movement, nothing was right.
It's everything, isn't it, Danny? In these big games.
Sloppy, we were saying, me and Mike were saying it was sloppy, the speed of pass wasn't there, there was no intent. We and Mike were talking about how you work with Arsene Wenger, and obviously we obviously work with Brendan about passing to your man, passing it on the right side, away from the defender. And we kept seeing it, didn't we, tonight?
A lot of balls bouncing into people, but there's a lot going on. You know, you're in a big stadium, you're in a first semi-final for a lot of these young players, and they'll look back at it and they think, this won't happen again. I'll learn from this. They were a little bit bullied at times. Every single decision seemed to go against them. The atmosphere is hostile, but it's about how you come back from that as a young player. Because if they want big careers, they've got to put it to one side and learn from it, as the manager. And I think there's a lot to be learned from tonight. But it's one of those, you have to suck it up and you have to go home, but you have to store it as energy for the future.
Yeah, it'll definitely be a lesson learned for this young and old Leicester side.